Most of the time on this channel, we talk about how tough and how difficult it is to land a brand new job. But today I want to talk about the fact that even if you do land a job, these are not dream jobs. These are not remote, cushy, sit at home in your pajamas all day jobs. These are jobs when you're probably not even gainfully employed and you're not happy with your work that you're doing, you're not satisfied. And it's just so interesting to me because when I first made a switch on this channel to looking at people's stories and people sharing their experiences, I had to go to X, I had to go to Reddit, but people are completely tired of things. And I'm able to get all kinds of stories just from LinkedIn. This used to be the professional social media site. And I get it, there's also going to be political things. There's also going to be what proposing to my girlfriend taught me about business to business sales. There's all kinds of junk and slop on LinkedIn, but it's just so surprising to me to see that people are just so open and honest with their full government name about their experiences, not just in the past, but their real thoughts on how it is to work at a job, how they're not getting treated fairly, how they're not being valued, and how so many people are just completely sick and tired of how they are treated by their employer. We will share a story of someone who has been in the job market for over 20 years, over 2 decades, and they're just tired of how they're being treated. They can put up with things, but they've reached a complete breaking point. We'll share someone who wishes that they had a severance package and that basically their job and their boss would just put them out of their misery. And we'll also have someone who just shares the fact that he's just working long, brutal hours and it's just absolutely had enough of it. But I mean, this is what happens because there's some people in this comment section here in Labor Gains who basically say, oh, just get a job. I mean, it's better than nothing. But people are getting jobs that are not very good. Like I said, number one, you can't pay your bills. So yes, it will put an end to maybe going bankrupt and losing your house and all this kind of stuff. But it's still not going to be enough. And if you don't have anything in savings, you're still going to be cooked because if your bills and your expenses, because you're in an expensive place like California or Florida like myself, $40,000 throughout most of Florida is not going to pay your bills between the rent and the cost of everything. And it's not even like you could take a bus to work. No, you have to have a car, you have to do the maintenance on the car. And sometimes to get to these jobs in these main cities, you have to commute over an hour each way to get there. So there's just a lot of expenses by having to just go to your job day in and day out because I guess we ruined a nice thing of having remote jobs. So into the office it is. And it's just a shame that the light at the end of the tunnel when it comes to finding a brand new job is unfortunately not hope, it's not promise, it's an oncoming train. But let's dive into some of these stories and see what people have to say. We start off with William, who says, working 12-hour shifts are brutal, then occasionally having to work a 14 because someone called in and now you have to stay, and it's so against everything I stand for. It should be illegal. Yeah, let's just throw them a pizza party every now and then. Maybe get a food truck and pay them a little extra with good benefits just to make up for them feeling like they live here. It takes a special breed to slave away your life for that. I hate working nights. I hate working weekends. And I absolutely can't stand working 12-hour shifts. I'll take just about anything at this point that isn't that. Please DM me by all means. A job shouldn't have to feel like a prison sentence. Because these jobs, like I said, are supposed to be the reward. Okay, it's difficult to find a job. But then when you do, okay, whew. Let's pop the champagne, let's relax, let's celebrate, let's make a nice LinkedIn post, let's do all these things, and let's take a big sigh of relief. No, unfortunately, we can't do that. Because the people who have jobs are now getting more work piled upon them. So we hear about the layoffs, and everyone's like, oh, just get another job. And okay, we usually talk down that rabbit hole. But what about the people who are still at the job? We know with all these layoffs, and maybe they're going to offshore some things to India, but there's still going to be a lot of work to be done. So if you make it through the first round of layoff, and this is why myself and a lot of my colleagues have left the job as soon as the layoffs start. Because if you can go somewhere else yeah, I mean, you're resetting the timer because a lot of these companies, especially in Florida, are not doing so well. They're struggling, and you might have 5 good years at a company, especially a small or medium company, before things really poop the bed. But you just got to move on because you're going to just get more work because they're going to lay off the people that they think are underperformers, and they're going to leave all that extra work to the people who are still there, who are still performing at a high level. And your good work, your attention to detail, your being a rock star is only rewarded by getting more work. So people are left with having to work these extra long hours, more than you signed up for. And what are you really supposed to do? I mean, I guess the right thing to do is saying no. You got to establish that you don't have any extra bandwidth. There's only so much you can do. And unfortunately, in this situation, you're just not able to take on additional work. And then you could say, well, what are they going to do? Fire me? Well, maybe, but they might fire you anyways. At least you won't be burned out. And hopefully they don't just fire you, they lay you off and you have some sort of severance package and something like that. But doing extra work is never going to be rewarded, unfortunately. It's going to be rewarded with more work and all this strain and drain on your mental health. And like William says, oh yeah, you might get a pizza party every now and then. And this is a sales professional. This is someone who, if you don't make sales, you probably don't eat. So maybe he got stuck after some layoffs and then he had to take on this extra time, maybe all these extra clients. And, I don't know what his base is, but probably base didn't go up. Here's more clients that you have to service and you just have to deal with it. And he's at the point where it's like, I can't work these 12-hour shifts. The pizza party's not worth it. He's getting benefits. That's nice. A lot of people who have to go to a stopgap job aren't able to even land benefits. And yes, you want to be able to get more hours or get a higher salary, but I don't know. It doesn't sound like William is getting paid for these 12-hour shifts, right? If you're getting overtime, if you're getting time and a half, some kind of benefit or some kind of reward is one thing. But if you have a base salary and it doesn't matter whether you work 8 hours, 2 to 3 hours, or 12 to 14 hours, you get the same amount of money at the end of the day, at least base money, then what really is the incentive for the person? You're only incentivized to work hard enough to not lose your job. And I agree that work doesn't need to be fun, right? It's not go play with your friends day, it's go to work day. But still, it shouldn't feel like a prison sentence. It might not feel like you're on a tropical island, but it certainly shouldn't feel like you're incarcerated. Next, Jay says, almost 23 years and never hated my job. However, screw with my work life, fine. I expect that here. But now you're screwing with my home life. I've already sacrificed every holiday family gathering by working here and working second shift. And now you want to force me to work more overtime and take more time away from my family because you laid off a third or more of the workforce? Shame on you. I hope there's a special place in hell for you and your kinds. And Jay is just left with 0 F's to give. And Jay's a locomotive electrician. So tradesman, right? This is what we're recommended to do. Stop crying and whining like a little girl about the loss of your tech job. Go be a tradesman. This man is saying that he's just getting all of these extra shifts. Now, he's not asking for it, right? He's not working at Marshall's making whatever, $12, $13 an hour, working 20 hours a week, begging for more time. Hey, can I get 25 hours, 30 hours? He's like, no, I have this set amount of hours that I'm supposed to work. I have this schedule that I take, and all right, cool, I'll do that, whatever. You can even treat me poorly at the job. Treat me however you want to treat me. But now you're scheduling me for time that I didn't ask for. Now you're interfering with time that I get to spend with family, friends, loved ones. Now you're just trying to take over more of my personal life so that I don't have a good work-life balance anymore. It's all about work and what I can do for the company, and you're not doing anything for me. Already you're not treating me great, but I can deal with it. But at least at the end of the day, which is not a long 12, 14-hour shift, I get to go home to my family, friends. I get to kind of separate it. Now they're doing layoffs. Laid off more than a third of the workforce at his establishment, at his business. And now all that extra time and all that extra hours, and now all the extra hours are going to him. This is just what I was saying. Your hard work, your dedication is only rewarded with more work. And Jay probably still at this job as of the writing of that post, and he says, I don't care. You mess with me, fine. You mess with my family. You want to do all these layoffs, and then you want to give me more work, so I don't get to go to home. So I don't get to go home as early. So I don't get to spend time with my family. I hope you rot in hell, is what Jay says. I've had enough of it, and I don't want to do this anymore. And now you're making me hate my job because you decided to lay off people, either because the company wasn't doing well or you just wanted to cut costs, and now I have to suffer for it. Now my family has to suffer for it. Now the work-life balance is being skewed the wrong way when I didn't do anything wrong. Obviously, I did good enough to survive the layoffs. I'm a part of the 2/3 of the workforce that is actually still here after the layoffs. And I don't get any benefits, right? I'm not getting additional stock if it's public. I'm not getting some of their money. I'm just getting more work, same pay, and now I have to work more hours because you guys couldn't run your business properly. And I don't blame Jay for being upset about this. I think anyone would in his case, in his scenario. Next, Edith keeps it short and sweet. Hate my job. It sucks there. Dave, if you're reading this, please fire me and give me severance. I know sports bars don't usually do severance, but please make an exception for me, praying hands. This is a nice stopgap job. This is someone who's very young, a student at Georgia State University. I'm imagining it ends in university. And she's working at a sports bar, doing anything, right? You know, maybe can't get a great internship, maybe can't bro it out on Wall Street, but has this job as at a sports bar, and she's just like, I don't even want to do this. I don't know what she's studying. I don't know what her career holds in the future, but even just at a sports bar, just like, all right, let me serve the drinks, serve the chicken wings, and just leave me alone. Why are you guys bothering me so much, right? To absolutely hate your job, it shouldn't be the case. Shouldn't be happening. It should be like, all right, I'm making some beer money. I'm making some extra money to go out, go shopping. I'm making some extra money to just have some fun. I'm in college. I shouldn't be this stressed out. I got to worry about passing my exams, my 20 to 30 years that it's going to take to pay off my student loans. These are the real problems. I shouldn't have a real issue of working at a sports bar. But at least put me out of my misery. Give me some severance, something, because I just absolutely hate it here. So then so far we have a sales person, hates it, working 12, 14 hours. We have a locomotive engineer, hates it. There's been a bunch of layoffs, has more work now, doesn't get to spend time with their family. Young person, working at a sports bar, hates it, put me out of my misery. These are the wonderful, amazing alternatives that people in the comments are suggesting. Go get any job. Just do something. Don't be too good for anything. These people are miserable. Absolutely miserable. And maybe it's better to be miserable than broke, but maybe it isn't. I don't know. It's for you to decide. Next, Felicia says, in the last 4 months, I have applied for more career opportunities at different companies than I have in the 25 years since I have joined the workforce. The job market at the moment seems extremely oversaturated, but at the same time, there are so many companies hiring. I started to doubt myself and what I bring to the job force. Then I remembered how flexible I am when it comes to any career that I enter. I am eager to learn so I can always be a well-rounded member and a team player to any position that I have ever had. I always want to improve my peers' abilities to do the job at hand with as much ease as possible. I have applied for jobs in previous fields, and I have also leaped and applied to jobs I believe would be a good fit. It is discouraging when you get feedback from recruiters like, the manager you interviewed with feels like you would not be fulfilled in a basic role and you will try to promote through the company. My question is, what's wrong with that? Why would you want an employee that isn't willing to put in the work to climb the ladder and succeed as an employee? I will continue to look for a role that will fulfill the needs of the company while also improving on my own self-growth. Being flexible, adaptable, and willing to learn should be characteristics all employers want in their employees. Felicia. All right, you want some advice? You want this old man's wisdom? All right, here's what I would say about this. Number one, when we write these LinkedIn posts, we have to think about who's our target audience. Are we just doing it for sympathy? Are we just doing it to get likes and to get the dopamine hit of people maybe reposting, giving comments, giving heart or celebratory emojis? Because that's what it seems like. Because people mostly aren't writing these LinkedIn posts to make themselves a better candidate. Like this is supposed to be branding. This is supposed to be marketing yourself and like, hey, I am a rock star. I'm amazing. I'm incredible. I've done all these different things. Unfortunately, there was a layoff out of my control, but here's all the incredible things that I've done in the past, and here's all the amazing things I can do for your organization in the future. Instead, these LinkedIn posts turn into these pity posts, these sob stories, and I just don't know what the benefit is besides maybe this cathartic feeling. You know, when you want to write a letter to someone who has wronged you and you are angered, okay, that's probably good. Like I said, it's cathartic to probably be able to write it all down, get all your feelings out, get all your emotions out, but then you don't send the email. But then you burn the physical paper, right? You got it out, it should feel better, but that's not to share with the universe. And then let's look at these titles. A lot of you guys say neither one of these are real jobs. To you guys, you're cold-hearted, you're cruel. Customer service supervisor and project manager, probably. You guys don't value these careers. Maybe other people don't either. And yeah, it's good to want to like learn and grow and stuff like that. But what we have to realize is these companies are hiring for specific roles. These people are hiring managers. They're not hiring so that you can work your way up the company ladder. They're not hiring you so that a year down the road or at your first performance review, you're going to be like, oh, how can I get promoted? No, they're hiring you to do a job. They don't want you to work your way up to a different place. They don't want you to try to take their job. They don't want you to ask for a switch to a different department. They want these individual contributors who are just going to do the job that they're assigned, do it well, be happy with it, not ask for a bunch of money down the line, not asked to be promoted or moved to a different department down the line. No. Yes, you're thinking about from, I don't know, maybe the CEO of the company. Oh yeah, I'm going to hire the best people. Maybe one day I'll get a senior vice president out of it. The senior vice president ain't hiring you, right? The CEO isn't hiring you. The hiring manager is the customer support manager or whatever. You know, the project management lead, the leader of the PMO, right? These people want you to stay there. They're hiring you to do this job for as many years as you can do it. And if you don't want to do anymore, then you can go ahead and leave. If they wanted someone for the better job, the higher up job, they would just hire for that position. They don't want you to do this. This is a terrible idea. And in your mind, you can think, hey, I want to work really well and really hard and eventually get promoted. But then you're also setting yourself up for failure because getting promoted internally is very difficult. And if you do get additional responsibilities, maybe after a layoff, maybe after they lay off a third of the people, this is how you're going to feel. You're going to be burned out. You're going to do all this extra work for no real extra recognition. You might not even get the title, and you're definitely going to have a lot more work on your hands. So, Felicia, we have to write LinkedIn posts that people want to read, that is going to promote you, show that you're a good candidate, and also the hiring manager. I mean, they're looking through all these resumes. They're spending sometimes months and months on these posts that we see, and they don't want to just hire you and a year later you're going to want to go somewhere else. They want someone to join their team, fall in line, and do what they're told. And that might make you miserable, that may make you upset, but that's going to be the way that you're going to keep your job, even if you hate it. But let me know what you think of these stories down in the comments below. And if you have some extra time, YouTube thinks you'll get a lot of value out of the video on screen now. And until next time, remember, times are tough, but so are you. Talk to you later.